Hey folks, what's up? This is Adam here, aka Cena Guy. Right, now that I've finished my review on the Karate Kid movies, I figured, go back to the old category that everyone likes me to talk about, which is horror. Now, it's funny I'm reviewing this type of horror because I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, I've been a horror fan my whole life, and my interest for horror started at such a young age, even when I was about 7 or 8 years old. Remember the times when you used to go into like the VHS stores or Blockbuster and you go in the horror section and you'd see all those catchy VHS film covers on the shelves, and one would catch your eye, and you just take the VHS off the shelf and just stare at the cover because it's so catchy and colourful, and the scariness of the cover would just like really capture your imagination, that sort of thing. Well, I remember this one particular one. I mean, Night of the Living Dead, and I'm not talking about the original either. I mean, right off the bat, the original one made in the 60s, I saw that once when it was on TV, but I couldn't really get into it. I mean, no disrespect to the 60s, Night of the Living Dead. I suppose it's alright, but again, I'd be lying if I said I love the film, you know. But I'd also be lying if I told you that I like this film as well, the remake. I mean, I remember looking at the VHS cover for this when I was, God, like a child. The VHS cover really stood out, you know. And then I looked on the back of the cover, of the box set, and I was even more blown away, by some of the scary images. You know, Barbara being attacked by that zombie in the graveyard at the start of the film. Zombies hanging from their necks from the trees and all that kind of shit. There were so many things that just drew me into it, and I was like, I can't wait till I see this when I'm old enough. You know what I mean? Because my mum wouldn't let me watch horror films at a young age. You see. And I was like, Night of the Living Dead, I'll remember that. I'll remember those images. I bet it's going to be a scary bloodbath, and all that kind of shit. And this film was directed by Tom Savini. And I've checked out some of Tom Savini's movies, and I'm like, this should be a bloodbath. This is going to be bloody. It's going to be scary and over the top. And obviously, I've got round to watching this. I forgot about it through time. And then I just had a flashback thinking, I remember that time when I looked at that cover. Now I'm a full horror fan. As you can see, all them Blu-rays and DVDs behind me are all horror movies mainly. I said to myself, I've got to check out that Night of the Living Dead. So I put it on, expecting a bloodbath, expecting to be scared, and none of it cut for me, anybody. I'm not trying to disrespect the movie in any type of way, but for a film made by Tom Savini, I was expecting a bloodbath. I was expecting scares, you know what I mean? There was not once during this movie where I was off my seat. There was not one where I was getting excited to see what happened next. There was not a scene where I was like, oh my god, that scene was so badass, you know what I mean? This movie didn't cut it for me. And Tony Todd's in this as well, the actor who played Candyman. And if you haven't seen my review on the Candyman films, Candyman was a character that scared the living shit out of me when I was 13 years old. He scared me up to the point where I didn't want to go in the bathroom because the mirror was in there, you know what I mean? So Tony Todd was in this as well. I was like, wow, Tom Savini, Tony Todd, working on the same movie. What more could you want? You know what I mean? And he played Ben in this, and I suppose he did nothing wrong with his performance. But again, the scary feels just weren't there. The movie was just there, you know what I mean? I mean, definitely wasn't a masterpiece. I mean, it's just like the first movie in every way in the 60s, but with slight few dibs and dabs of changes. I mean, you got Barbara and her brother in the opening, just like the 60s one, they're in the graveside, this is the mother's grave. Her brother, one with the glasses, gets attacked by a zombie. He ends up getting killed. Barbara then encounters another zombie. She tries to get away in the car crashes, and she makes a run to this house, basically. And that's where she meets up with Ben, who's played by Tony Todd. And the Cooper family are down in the basement looking after their daughter, who's sick. We get the first half of the scenes of just Tony Todd and who was played Barbara? Patricia Tallman, Patricia Tallman and Tony Todd are spending most of the time just boarding up the house. You know, I'm thinking, where's the suspense in this? You know, we got a scene to where Tony Todd and Barbara are just boarding up the house with like using a dining room table and doors, you know, to cover up the windows and all that kind of stuff. There's back and forth bickering and fighting between Mr. Cooper and Tony Todd, you know, Ben. You know, I like Tony Todd's character more than the Cooper character because the Cooper character is like more of an asshole with this gun, you know, and Tony Todd just basically wants them all to work together, but he's very strong-minded and all that kind of stuff. So, right off the bat, I want to say something about the Barbara character in this movie. When I compare this Barbara character to the one in the 1960s, I like this one better. I mean, the one in the 60s was all like, all scared for her life. I mean, don't get me wrong, I would be if I encountered some zombies. You would be scared for your life. But the Barbara character in this movie just seemed to have a little bit more about it. She had like some sort of fighting fiery power, you know, where the Barbara in the 60s one was just a little too, I don't know, annoying. I'm like, shut the fuck up. But, you know, when you put yourselves in the character's shoes in these type of movies, you're bound to think they're going to be hysterical. But I thought the Barbara character in this one stood out more. That's just my general opinion. Patricia Tallman's character, you know. But the Cooper family, you know, they're in the basement. The zombies start attacking the house, and we get some certain scenes where, you know, we're trying to stop the zombies from breaking into the house, but the commotions between Cooper and Ben are happening, back and forth, bickering and all that. And this film had so many what the fuck moments. You know, too many what the fuck moments, which kind of spoiled the film for me. There's a scene where Cooper goes to the, you know, the gas, the gas pumps because he needs gas. You know what I mean? There's a padlock on the gas pump. So what does he do? He fires the fucking shotgun at the padlock to break it open. And I think to myself, you dumbass, does it fucking not occur to you that you're in a gas station or surrounded with gasoline and you're going to fucking shoot a gun near all the gas? What do you think is going to happen? Well, anyway, the place fucking blows up and all that shit. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? Couldn't a 5-year-old figure that out? You're going to fire a shotgun around where the gasoline is, you know? And that's what he does. He just blows the place up. And I was like, wow, I didn't see that fucking coming. You know, so that was like a what the fuck moment. You know, and sooner or later, the girl is sick in the basement. She comes alive. She kills the mother. You know, sooner or later, all the zombies are breaking into the house and all that kind of shit. And there's a scene where Ben gets shot. And another what the fuck moment, because Barbara's saying things like, you can walk past them, the zombies and all that. Why didn't Ben just go with Barbara, you know, while he was trying to hold the door shut with this gunshot wound with all the zombies trying to break through? You know, he had the opportunity to save his life, you know, go with Barbara. Why didn't he go with Barbara? Why did he allow himself to get into that sort of a fucking mess, you know? I mean, I've never been shot. I mean, I don't want to get shot, but surely crosses your mind, like, you know, move, save your life. Why did you allow yourself to all that happen to you, you know what I mean? And sooner or later, Ben turns into a zombie himself. And I'm thinking, how the fuck did he turn into a zombie? Because I don't recall him ever being bit. You know what I mean? Because there's a scene where his eyes go crazy, he turns into a zombie, and I think to myself, I don't recall him being bit by any of the zombies unless it happened off screen. You know what I mean? So, you know, so the movie, it's there, you know what I mean? But what killed this, what fucking killed this for me was the fact that there was nothing to talk about. There was too many what the fuck moments. There was no moments of severe gore, which I was expecting, not only for a Tom Savini movie, but a movie with zombies, because zombies eat your flesh, they eat you alive. So I don't recall any flesh being bitten off the bone or severe blood when they got shot or anything like that. There was just like no gory fucking scenes. And I remember when I was looking at this as a kid, looking at all them scary zombies on the back of the VHS cover. It says Night of the Living Dead, you know. I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be like a gory, badass adventure, and it just didn't have that. You know what I mean? I was overwhelmingly disappointed with how this movie turned out, because it was one film I wanted to check out ever since I was a kid. And then when I get the opportunity, I see that. You know what I mean? And Tony Todd, who played Candyman, the character that scared the shits out of me for weeks 13, was in this movie. You know, I know he was playing a good guy in this movie, but I was thinking, come on, you know, give us something. So, overall, disappointed. I'm not saying the film is fucking shit. I'm just saying I could have expected a lot more. You know, I was expecting more from a zombie movie. You know, you got your Dawn of the Deads and all that kind of stuff, and then you get Night of the Living Dead, this remake that came out in the year of 1990. I mean, when was this? This was officially made of October 19th of 1990. Budget 4.2 million. Yeah, we had Tony Todd as Ben, Patricia Tallman as Barbara, Tom Towles played by Harry Cooper. I mean, even the reception was really negative for this movie. But with that being said, the first one that I made in the 1968, that was not a masterpiece of a movie. But I mean, don't get me wrong, if I had to choose between that movie and this movie, I'd choose this movie. But at the end of the day, it's not a movie I'm crazy about. You know what I mean? I did watch during the film. I was like this, you know, like when is something badass gonna happen? You know what I mean? So just disappointed with what I thought could have been, you know, a great over-the-top gory adventure, and we was given something like this. So unless it was meant to be one of those films where it wasn't focusing on the gore, it was mainly focusing on the scares of the presence of the zombies or the music and things like that. So unless I was mistaken, you know, but I was just expecting more. So that's pretty much what I've got to say. I mean, in terms of special features on this Blu-ray, there's not really much to say other than we've got an audio commentary with Tom Savini. We've got an interview with the director Tom Savini as well. So mainly interviews and behind-the-scene features, but there's nothing to go crazy about with the extras on this Blu-ray. It's not a special edition or anything, so I haven't checked out the special features. It just goes to show how much I'm interested about the making of this movie and all that kind of stuff. So I guess that's pretty much it, everybody. Please like, rate and comment this. I mean, I hear there's loads of great zombie movies out there like Dawn of the Dead and all that, but I do not recommend Night of the Living Dead as a must-stay-in, watch on your Saturday nights with beer and popcorn zombie movie. I hear compared to other zombie movies, it makes this one look like a joke, but you know what I mean? And they're probably right. I haven't checked out many zombie movies, but there's bound to be some classic zombie movies out there. And what are they? Please recommend them to me, everybody, because I've never really gave zombie movies much of a big chance. Even though I'm a die-hard horror fan, I've never really got into any good hardcore zombie movies. So if there are any, list them below, tell me about them, and hopefully when I get time, I'll get round to checking them out. You know what I mean? But this is not one I recommend for those who are expecting a big, gory, zombie flesh-eating adventure. You know what I mean? Just didn't quite cut the mustard. Thanks, everyone. Please like, rate, and comment. If you have any questions, leave them comments below and recommendations. Thanks. Peace out.